اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم.
Now the lesson I really want to share with you. This is the one I might even get in trouble with, but that doesn't matter. Because I'm going to leave now, so I'll be back in the morning. But anyway, so what I wanted to share with you is actually a lesson from this surah that is the least taught. The least taught, in my opinion, lesson of this surah, or this story. Of the 4 ayat I told you that summarize the whole story, the first of them was they went into the cave. The second of them was they went put to sleep. The third of them was they woke up. And the last of them was that he's telling the story for a purpose. And by saying that, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ نَبَأَهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ, we're narrating the story onto you for actual purpose. By saying that, Allah is teaching you and me that there is such a thing as learning the story and not understanding its purpose. There is such a thing as learning Islam and forgetting the purpose of Islam. There is such a thing as gaining a lot of knowledge without purpose. There is such a thing. And we have to be careful about learning with what? With purpose. We cannot lose sight of purpose. Everything we do must have purpose. This is one of the most powerful lessons taught in this surah. In order to help you understand this lesson, I'm going to give you a silly example and then come back to the ayat. The silly example will help you frame your mind in the right direction. You have a person who's very successful in business. He's launched several businesses. All of them have become multi-million-dollar successes. And money is no longer a need in his life. And his businesses are running themselves. He doesn't have to spend 8-10 hours a day at work. He doesn't have to do that anymore. He decides that after all of these years of putting work in and running these businesses successfully, he wants to give back to the community, so he decides to go and become a teacher of business. So he goes to a business school and he teaches a business class, okay? Now there's a difference between a business professor who's only taught business in the classroom and a multi-million-dollar success teaching business. Who would you rather take a class from? The multimillionaire or the business professor? The multimillionaire, because he's got real life experience. He's not just going to teach you what's in the textbook, he's going to teach you what's going on in real life, you understand? And you want to take him as a role model to emulate his success. Isn't that the case? So he's a really good teacher, and he decides that one day he's going to teach his students several principles of good business by telling them a story. Because you know, when you tell a story, it becomes easy to remember. Lessons become easy to remember. Of course, Quran does that, right? Allah tells stories and teaches lots of lessons through the story, so they're easy to remember. Unless, instead of making a long list of lessons, he'll just tell the story, and you'll remember the lessons automatically anyway. So here's how the story goes. There's a man, he wants to start a successful retail business. He looked at the right location. He searched out the location that has the most foot traffic. He found an appropriate rent. He did a lot of research into the inventory and the quality. He did a lot of work on the branding of his business. Then he set up good customer service infrastructure, and he started running his business. And when he's telling the story, what is he telling students to do? Location is important, pricing is important, inventory is important, quality is important, customer service is important. These are things that go into running a good business, yes? One student raises his hand. So, does he wear sneakers or shoes every day to work? Another student raises his hand. So, what brand of toothbrush does he paste with? Oh, does he brush his teeth with? And another one raises his hand. What color socks does he wear? And the professor is just looking at these idiots. I just told you a story, the point of which was for you to learn proper business practices, yes? And you, genius, turn around and all you're telling me is what color socks does he wear? Or what does he eat for lunch? You know, or what kind of car does he drive? Do you not get what I'm talking to you about? Do you understand that you're missing the point entirely? And the student says, well, at least I'm still asking about the same story. Is it possible that people will learn about the people of the cave? And they're supposed to learn how to hold on to their faith and stand with confidence and rely on Allah and all of these things, but get lost in details that don't even matter? Is that possible? Do we do that with Islamic studies? Do we study the story of Yusuf alayhi salam and obsess over what was the minister's wife's name? How old was she? Did they get married eventually or what? Where's Yusuf alayhi salam's mom? I want to know about his mom because Allah didn't talk about his mom, so I want to know about his mom. What are his brothers' names? Do they rhyme? You know, where did they live? There are lots of questions you can ask. Right? Even about the story of the cave, people can ask, hey, so their dog, was it spotted? Was it big or small? Was it like a, one of those Chihuahua things or what was it? And I've actually read classical tafasir, 4 or 5 pages dedicated to the color of the dog. And I have literally pulled my hair out saying, why is this in the tafsir? Why? Because the purpose of Quran is part of the teaching of the Quran is not just knowledge. Part of teaching is what should you focus on and what should you learn to ignore. There are some things you have to learn to not ask. Not every question is healthy. So what does Allah do? He says, سَيَقُولُونَ ثَلَاثَةٌ رَابِعُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ وَيَقُولُونَ خَمْسَةٌ سَادِسُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ رَجْمًا بِالْغَيْبِ وَيَقُولُونَ سَبْعَةٌ وَثَامِنُهُمْ كَلْبُهُمْ. Look at these people. All they discuss is they must have been, 3 and the 4th one was the dog, and 5 and the 6th one was the dog, and they even say they were 7 and the 8th one was the dog. Why are they talking about this? Why can't they learn from the people of the cave that they should leave useless conversation? Remember when they were asking how long were you sleeping? What was the answer? Allah knows better. Allah says now again, قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. Allah knows better about their number. What do you care? How is it going to increase your iman that they were 7? Aha, 7. I knew it. Because it wouldn't have been epic if they were 5. And then there are some other people who really have a problem with the fact that they had a dog. Right? Because dogs are astaghfirullah. If you're from Pakistan, dogs are like shaitan. So then they try to reinterpret the book. The kalb actually means khadim, it's their servant. His name is dog, because they dog, you know what I'm saying? He was their dog. So, what are you talking? They had a dog, it's okay, they had a dog. And even the ayah says, بَاسِطٌ ذِرَاعَيْهِ بِالْوَصِيدِ. The dog had his paws stretched out. How are you going to say their servant had his paws stretched? I mean, visualize this for me, please. And they're running for their life and they have a servant? Are you serious? Even in a state of emergency, you take your butler with you? I mean, come on. It doesn't make any sense. But anyhow, what I'm saying is, even in the study of Islam, a lot of young people here have become inspired and they want to learn more about Islam. And they want to take classes and courses and increase their knowledge. But one thing I will really remind you of: don't lose sight of purpose. Don't go overboard in learning something that is not making you into a better person. If you know enough tajweed to recite the Quran without mistakes, it's okay. You don't have to have 13 ijazat in tajweed. It's okay. It's okay. Allah will not ask you about it. You're relaxed. There are other things you need to learn that are a bigger priority for you. Those of you that want to become specialists, go ahead. But for the rest of you, don't overindulge in one subject over another. Don't give something priority that Allah Himself didn't give this much priority. And we do that. We tend to have this ghulu, this overboard excessiveness in our learning of the religion. That's why Allah says, "La taghlu fi dinikum." Don't become excessive in your religion. So how do you know, and how do I know that we're becoming excessive or not becoming excessive? This is one of the greatest lessons of this surah. Allah will teach us, you and me, what kind of questions we should be asking and what kinds of questions we should not be asking. If Allah wanted me to know where the cave is located, wallahi, He would have told me. If Allah wanted me to know how many there were, He would have told me Himself. If Allah wanted me to know what the names of these guys were, He would have told me. He keeps details from me on purpose. Because He's telling me, I don't want you to focus on that. Focus on what I did give you. The tragedy of even Islamic studies has become, our entire focus becomes on what Allah didn't say. What He didn't say, not on what He did say. And then after teaching this incredible lesson of focus, there are 3 more stories in this surah. How many more? 3 more. Let me tell you what they are. There's a story of 2 gardeners. This is followed by the story of a journey taken up by Musa alayhi salam and Khidr. Then there's a story after that of Dhul Qarnayn. The story of the two gardeners that Allah mentioned their names. Does anybody know if Allah mentioned their names? Or the location of the garden? Or the century in which it occurred? Or which prophet they followed? Did He give those details? No, because that's not what you're going to learn about. You need to focus on what you've been told. Then Allah told us the story of Musa and Khidr. And even Khidr's name is not mentioned. Who is this Khidr? Is he a man? Is he an angel? What is he? Where is he? Where did Musa a.s. go? Who's the servant next to him? Where is this place where the two oceans meet? Where did they go first? Did Allah answer any of these questions? No. But do we become obsessed with those questions? Absolutely. We become obsessed with what Allah does not want us to focus on. In other words, the first story taught us a lesson. Learn to ignore your useless curiosity. It's okay to be curious, but there's such a thing as a useless curiosity. And He tested my useless curiosity with the story of the gardeners. Then He tested it again with the story of Musa and Khidr. And what's the last story in the surah? Dhul Qarnayn. Do we ask silly questions about Dhul Qarnayn? Instead of focusing on what we are told, who is this Dhul Qarnayn? Is it Alexander the Great? Are Yajuj and Majuj really behind the China wall? You know, we get obsessed with things Allah chose not to tell us. This in and of itself is a powerful Quranic teaching. In times of fitna, you have to hold on to the book. That's what I started with, you remember? You have to hold on to the book, but you have to hold on to the book with purpose. You can't just hold on to the book artificially or for your own silly curiosity. You must emphasize what your Lord Himself emphasized. You must pay attention to what He said and what He wants you to know and what He wants you to learn and internalize. One of the most beautiful ayat of this entire story is قُلْ رَبِّي أَعْلَمُ بِعِدَّتِهِمْ. Allah knows better about their number. When do we say Allahu A'lam? When you know something or when you don't know something? When you don't know something, you say Rabbi A'lam, Allahu A'lam. Isn't it? So when Allah says Rabbi A'lam, what is He saying? You don't know. He knows. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. And the beautiful language is Rabbi A'lamu bi'iddatihim. My master knows better about their number. Meaning, were they 3, 5, 7, 85? I don't know. Allah is the one who knows. But then He added something. He said, مَا يَعْلَمُهُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ. For those of you that are familiar with the Arabic language, كلمة عدة مؤنث ولم يقل ما يعلمها إلا قليل بل قال ما يعلمهم إلا قليل فعاد الضمير إلى أصحاب الكهف لا إلى العدة. He used the pronoun going back to the people of the cave. He doesn't say Allah knows their number, nobody knows it except a few. That's not what He said. He said Allah knows their number, nobody knows them except a few. Meaning most people get lost discussing the number and very few people actually focus on them. We have to be the few people that focus on them, their heroism, their faith, their strength in action. Their desire to leave what they left behind. Now I want to conclude, inshallah ta'ala, just some comments about these young people that are such an incredible inspiration in the Quran. Like I said before, they didn't have the Quran. They didn't have the Quran. They didn't have the greatest miracle of Allah Azza wa Jal. By the way, Allah put them to what? Allah put them to sleep. And this Quran is actually one that will keep us awake. Our miracle is that when the world will be sleeping, we'll be the only ones awake. Our miracle is going to be the one where the world is lost in ghafla. The whole world is lost in ghafla. And the only ones awake are the young people. And when these same young people, all they can care about is how many likes on their stupid joke did they get? How many LOLs did they receive? When they keep taking 8 different selfie angles and then fixing the color correction and learning the photo, changing all of that and then posting it, just felt like taking a selfie out of the blue. When you're so lost inside of yourself, when this device is basically your soul, when that's what's happened to you, then you're a lost cause. The enemy of Islam doesn't have to come and destroy you, he already did. You're already done. You've already been cooked, You guys, you have to transcend image. You have to get beyond, social pressure. You have to get beyond what people think of you on campus if you're wearing a hijab. Instead of you feeling sorry that you're wearing hijab and they look down on you, you should feel sorry for them that Allah did not crown their heads with guidance. That's what you should be thinking. You young men over here, instead of worrying about, man, these guys get to eat what they want, do what they want, drink what they want, you should feel sorry for them that Allah dignified you as a human being and kept you away from living an animal existence, pretending to be human, instead of wanting to be like them. Allah has dignified you with beautiful speech. بِئْسَ الْإِسْمُ الْفُسُوقُ بَعْدَ الْإِيمَانِ. You don't use foul language. You don't even allude to foul language. There are no 4-letter filthy words in your vocabulary. And when you hear them, you don't laugh. You don't find them enjoyable. You react to them like you would to a filthy smell. You're disgusted by them because Allah has given nobility to this tongue of yours. He gave this tongue the honor of reciting the Quran. It has no room for filthy language left. It has no room left because Allah cleaned it up. This is my young generation. These are my young heroes that are going to stand. The real battle for Islam for a lot of you in the United States is on college campuses. It's on high school campuses. It's not inside the masajid. The real champions of Islam are these young people. Even if they don't know much, they're still holding on to their faith. The real heroes of our religion are these young guys. These young guys that are sitting in a college auditorium in the summer, and there are girls basically undressed, sitting next to them saying, "Hi Abdullah, how are you? You have such great handwriting." And they're not even looking up, and they're saying, "Thank you." And then they're saying, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim." And even though he thinks she's beautiful, and even though he wants to look like any man would, even though he's attracted, he just turns to Allah and says, "Ya Allah, save me from this flood. You promised me better. You better hold up your promise, because I'm dying over here. Ya Allah, you better do your part." These young people are amanu bi rabbihim. They are the ones who've held on to their faith, the most basics of their faith. I don't expect our young people to become scholars and experts of the Arabic language and tajweed and Quran and memorize and all of that. Those of you that are doing that, I'm so proud of you. And those of you that haven't even taken a single step in that direction, you don't know how to recite a single word of the Quran. That's not your fault. But the fact that you can still hold on to your faith, and the fact that you can still make a commitment to Allah and say, "Ya Allah, I want to be strong. And I know where I'll get my strength. I'll get my strength from your words. So I'm turning to your book, Ya Allah. Make this journey easy for me. Make this journey easy for me." And when you can do that, you watch what Allah does for you. He will do for you what He did for them. وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. We increase them, and we enhance them, and we evolve them in guidance. He'll transform you into better and better people. He'll make you people that other people will want to be around. He'll make you a role model. Here you are looking for role models. You've forgotten that you're the one Allah gave Islam to. You're the role model. You're looking for someone to lean on. You're the one that everybody else has to lean on. Learn to stand up. This book will help you stand up. It is high time that the youth stop complaining. They stop saying the pressure is too high. I don't know how to handle it. You are the people Allah chose for this generation. And Allah chooses the right people for the right generation that can carry the banner of His faith. You're the people that Allah chose. Stop hiding behind excuses. We don't even have to run to a cave. We don't have to run to no cave. We can stand tall where we are. We're not being killed for saying La ilaha illallah. We're just being looked at dirty. That's nothing. Look away. Stare all you want. People are just saying condescending words to us, and every time they do, it's an opportunity for conversation, isn't it? Every time people talk down to us, make fun of us, say insulting words towards us, these are times where we must see that these people, they hate this deen so much. I'm going to talk to them and let's see what happens. And you will find many of them completely transformed because you had the confidence to stand up for your faith. The last thing I want to share with you on this note about young people. Not too long ago, a group of young people, I met a young boy in Chicago who on his way to school, he goes to public school, Muslim boy. He goes to public school, and on the bus, other kids call him Muhammad, terrorist, Osama bin Laden, ISIS, Do you have a bomb in your backpack? They say this to him the entire bus route. And he even made a video of it for me. He saw it being done and he made a video. And another time they did it again. Another time they even beat him up. It's been reported to the principal. It's been reported to the school district. The teachers have been told. The bus driver's been told. But it carries on. It comes every few weeks. It happens again and again and again. What I'm trying to get at is there are countless families in the United States who's the real victims of Islamophobia, and the real pressure against Islam that's being mounted is being mounted even against our children. They're not safe. And this is a very serious epidemic that we all must stand up for. We have to grow a spine and walk into these school districts and say, we have paid taxes in this country. Our children are entitled to a stress-free, oppression-free, dignified education in the even if it's in the public school system. And you will provide it to us, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, we'll see how you keep your job, because you will not. Because these children are as American, if not more. And we have to stand up for our kids now. We cannot remain silent in every one of your communities. Every single one of the parents you have to become activists now. Because if our children are smothered by these kinds of words, and they grow up having no confidence in their faith, what are they going to hold on to? It's going to be gone the moment they get a little bit older. We have to be able to, if we throw them into this flood, we better at least hand them a paddle. At least throw them a lifeboat or something. You can't just throw them in the mix and not support them. So the cause that I leave everyone here with is the cause of our kids. The cause in your local communities. Get involved and let them know Muslims live here and they're here to stay. Barakallahu li wa lakum. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.